Crawford and Canelo.
Yeah.
Canelo will sleep Crawford.
With the epic showdown between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford recently announced to take place in December or January next year, boxing fans and pros all around the world seem excited about this battle between their favorite legendary fighters. The fight, which has been in talks for a very long time, is finally seeing the light of day as the one and only Turki Al Sheikh recently announced the potential dates when this battle between the boxing elite will take place on a mission to revive boxing to its previous glory. His Excellency has been in talks of further organizing these mega boxing events in various cities all around the globe that will not only increase the revenue but also provide the fans with what they have been waiting for. His Excellency commented, "I want this fight. And we are thinking of doing it in America, because we want it huge with this fight now officially underway. It is no wonder everyone is hyped up, including the fighters themselves, as this fight can provide them. Especially Terence to become one of the top fighters. Crawford has spoken out about his feelings about the upcoming fight, saying that it has been a long time coming since both he and Canelo are top middleweights right now. He told her, "You have two of the best fighters of this decade, not just the last year or so. You have two fighters who have been the best for 10 years. You got the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world, and you got the #1 money man despite the situation and future opportunities." Terence made it clear that his main focus right now is on his upcoming fight with Israel Madrimov on ALG 3rd. He said that winning this fight will determine his next fights, so he needs to pay attention and take this one seriously first. Terence went on to say, "I never like to forget about anyone. The fight on August 3rd is where my main attention is right now. Canelo has said before that he will be ready to fight Crawford if they agree to a fight, but Crawford has to lose 168 pounds first."
You know, when they ask him for the Germonta fight, they don't want to get credit for that fight. It's the same for me. I don't need to take that fight because everybody's gonna say it's too small, it's too small, it's too small, and then, you know, he need to enjoy his fight.
Okay,
He deserves it. He deserves it.
What do you think of the fight?
Oh,
Ladies and gentlemen.
I like Spence, but you know, I like Spence and all the respect for him and everything. But I knew. I think is the type of fight Terence Crawford is fighter is different.
All right, if you please raise your hand. We'll now open questions up to media.
Canelo, directly right here in front of you, straight ahead of you. Right here, Canelo. Terence Crawford, his name keeps coming up, and I know he's a lot smaller than you. Is that a fight that you would ever consider under any circumstance?
You know, I always say that the fight make sense, why not? But he is not in the plan.
He's not in the plan.
No.
Okay. Is there a specific reason for it? Is it because of his size, or it won't do anything for you in terms of pushing you toward your goals?
You know, like I say, it makes sense maybe. I don't know right now. I just gonna enjoy this fight, and please let me enjoy this fight. And then you're gonna know what is next.
Taking a look at the fighters' records, it seems like there could not be a better fight. For example, Canelo is a 168-pound fighter who is the undisputed world super middleweight champion and has defended his title against big names like Jaime Munguia and later Jermall Charlo in fights that can only be described as awesome. Canelo is the king of the middleweight class for a reason. He is known for his quick jabs and great footwork. Not far behind, Terence. It's also not a good idea to dismiss Bud Crawford. Since his fight with Errol Spence last year, he has been unbeaten in 3 weight classes, winning the title and knocking Spence out. Crawford is known for his adaptability and attacking style, and is also someone who holds the ability to take down any fighter who goes against him. Knowing all this, it's no surprise that industry pros have a lot to say about this upcoming fight, from ideas on which fighters' fighting stance will help to predictions on who will win. Everyone in the industry is choosing a side that they want to be on when the fight finally takes place. Meanwhile, Errol Spence, who despite losing to the Bud seems to be on his side in this fight against Canelo, commenting on Crawford's mission of moving up, Errol said how this is something that Terence will be able to do, and there is no 100% possibility of who would win. But still, he would be on Terence's side. He said, "I'll be going for Bud. You know, if he fights Canelo, I'll be going for him. I mean, I don't know if he is going to win or lose, but I definitely will be going for Crawford. I think if anybody can pull it off, he can pull it off. Yeah, you know, he's chasing greatness, so why not?" While talking about people calling out Crawford for going too far, Errol commented on how Canelo did it as well, as he too started from 147 and then went up to 152 and 175 lbs to fight Floyd and Bevell respectively, which ended up working well for him in greater schemes of things. Errol further added Canelo came up to 175 and, you know, fought Bevell and fought the other guy too. So, I mean, if he can do it, he started at 147, so, I mean, if he is doing it, why can't Crawford do it? Moving forward, we have the all-time favorite British promoter Eddie Hearn, who has remarked on various occasions how Canelo might not be too excited about this fight, as this is not something that will help him go on forward, but on the other hand, it might prove to be quite a nice challenge for Terence, who is known to move up in weights to fight better boxers in respective weight classes. Eddie remarked, "I don't think he's especially interested in the Terence Crawford fight because I think he'll be thinking, I'm not going to get any credit for beating Terence Crawford. He's a 147-pounder who's just moved to 154. You're asking him to move up to 168 and fight a guy that's going to greatly outsize him." Eddie then added, "Also, at this stage in Canelo Alvarez's career, stylistically, I'm not sure he wants to fight a mover while talking about who could possibly win this fight." Eddie remarked on how Terence has proved to be someone who moves up and fights big players to earn more respect for himself. And in most cases, he ends up winning. But this time, it would not be too easy for him, as it looks like Canelo might be the one who puts an end to Terence's dreams of moving further up. He said Terence Crawford, he's got to continue to success, and he's got to look for the biggest fights out there. Obviously, that's a big fight for him financially. As good as Terence Crawford is, I think the only way he gets beaten is by moving too far out of his weight class, and I think this is the fight that gets him beat, having the same worry regarding the weight difference between the two boxers. One of the best teachers. Andre Rosier also pointed this out, telling Terence about this, as in the game of boxing, these things end up making a lot of difference, but still with good technique and skill set that Terence pauses, he might need to look out for Canelo, who is known to be a beast. He said TC is a different person, he's a different monster, but that's at 147. If honestly this was maybe 160, I'd be more likely to say okay. But this is 3 weight class differences, and weight classes make a difference. They make a difference. He then added, I think that although Terence has incredible boxing skills, size is still important, strength is still important, and punching power is still important. Rosier has also seen making comments on how this fight seems to support Canelo instead of Crawford, and for this reason he does not like this fight for Crawford, as he is just flying too close to the sun this time, and he might end up getting burnt.
Terence has lots of work at 47 and 54, even at 60, if he can carry it. But I don't want to see him going to places he need not go just because people have talked to him.
Not having the same idea. Tim Bradley said that this weight difference is not something that will stop Terence, as he is someone who is out to get more fame and has had eyes on Canelo for a very long time, so despite everyone thinking him to be the underdog in this fight, he might be able to defeat Canelo, who seems to be underestimating him. After he beat Charlo earlier, he said the mindset of Crawford is that he's a top pound-for-pound guy. Charlo was never a top pound-for-pound guy. The skill set of Crawford as well as what he brings, he's a tough man, and he's been after Canelo. He wants to fight Canelo, and I think he'll do well against Canelo on the same topic. Tim also talked about how this can be compared to the fight with Floyd Mayweather, in which Canelo lost, and how Terence might end up winning the fight because of his skill set and mindset of moving on forward against someone like Canelo. He said, I think that Crawford has that ability. He can be able to outbox him, outthink him, make him miss, make him pay, you know what I mean? As long as he's not catching too many of those hits and he's using his legs and athleticism in defense to get out of the way, he should be able to beat Canelo. He's not really supporting Terence. Bob Arum, being a renowned boxing promoter, gave his bold take on the fight, saying how this would be an easy fight for Canelo to win against Terence, as he is just the better fighter out of the two with more experience when it comes to fighting in this weight class. He added, "I think Canelo wipes the floor with him. I love Crawford. I told you when Crawford and Spence fought that Crawford would beat the hell out of him, but Canelo is a different prospect. It's an interesting fight, but I think there's only one winner. Canelo is used to fighting at a particular level, and I don't think that Terence can hurt Canelo, but Canelo can hurt Terrain. Canelo Alvarez, being the Mexican powerhouse and national prize, is known for his remarkable fighting style and an excellent record of 60 fights, out of which he only lost 2 times. One time to Dimitri Bivol in 2022, and the other time to Floyd Mayweather Jr. in 2013 in a very upsetting match. Looking at these records, it is no wonder that many pros and coaches are on the side of Canelo in this fight, including Rob Acosta, who is a famous boxing coach himself. While on this topic, Acosta commented on how this fight is totally on Canelo's side, and even though Crawford is someone who has remarkable strength and fighting stance, he would not be able to hold on against someone like Canelo, who is used to counterattacks like these.
Canelo will sleep Crawford, without a doubt. There is nothing that Crawford possesses other than a good IQ, a high IQ, and boxing ability for him to beat Canelo. I think, you know what it is? I think everybody thinks that they can go in there and do something until they're actually in there trying to do something. You know what I'm saying? So I think Crawford should focus on the 154.
Rob also commented on the weight gap between the two fighters. Rob emphasized that this fight may have been in Terence's favor if the weight class was 150-155, but in the weight division of 168, Terence has practically no chance of winning the fight. He stated, "I think if Crawford goes up to 168 and he gets touched, because he will get hit. Let's be honest, his defense is not immaculate, but if he does get hit, and when he does get hit, it's going to be a different fight." Moving on to everyone's best coach and boxing analyst, Teddy Atlas, who has one clear winner in his mind, and that seems to be the American pride. Terence Crawford, talking about Bud's immaculate fighting style, noted that this technique and adaptability shown by Crawford makes him a tough opponent to beat for anyone, including Canelo. Teddy said he's Terence got the character, and I know he's got the mind. I know he has special skills that very few fighters have, he further added. Crawford has the ability to slow things down in the ring that very few people have, and to see things that nobody else can see because he slows it down where other people don't see it, and that's what makes his timing so special. Yeah, he's got great power. He carried it up talking about whether Crawford would be able to beat someone like Canelo. Teddy stressed that Terence would most certainly be able to outsmart someone of Canelo's caliber and come out victorious in the end because of his firm composure. Teddy said Canelo can do all the things that have made him so special. There's no question about it. But we're forgetting about those things I just talked about with Crawford. Just because he's smaller, we're forgetting that he'll come up with a game plan where he won't let the other guy use his sight. Bernard Hopkins gave his idea about the fight, calling it out to be a ridiculous idea, as both fighters seem to have a great weight difference, which would, in the end, prove to be even dangerous for Crawford's well-being. Bernard also said Terence will gain from winning this fight, not Canelo.
Crawford cares about his life. And with that fight, what do that fight do for Canelo fighting Crawford and Crawford beats Canelo? What do that do for
Moving on, we all know that it would not be a Canelo Alvarez fight if Oscar De La Hoya did not comment on it. And just like all the times before, Oscar seems to be on Canelo's opponent's side, being in a long-time feud with Canelo. Oscar noted on how Canelo may end up losing this time, as even despite his size advantage, Crawford will end up overpowering him by using his skills. Oscar said, "I give Crawford all the credit in the world for even thinking about possibly fighting Canelo, but if that fight ever takes place, I have Crawford a 1,000%. He went on to add Crawford is a big guy who can handle Canelo because they're the same size. Crawford is a guy who punches hard, but he doesn't rely on his power. He relies on his footwork, his speed, his change-ups, his combinations, and his mind. And I think that Crawford is a way better boxer than Canelo." Coming in last is the former professional boxer and current trainer known for his straightforward views. Brian BAC McIntyre, who seemed to be on Crawford's side, said how this fight would be another great win for Terence, who is in the process of moving up towards the Hall of Fame of winning titles in all the major weight classes. Brian, while answering the same question of Terence, trying too hard this time, explained that even though most pros and fans seem to think it might be Canelo who has the upper hand, the real hardcore fans know that this time it would be Terence who wins. Brian said everybody that believes in hardcore boxing fans, they know Crawford can beat Canelo just like that. They knew Bud was going to beat Spence. This is really easy. It's real simple. So this is all for today, folks. If you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to tell us about your thoughts in the comments below.